So let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. It's a whole lot going on in the world as usual, but I want to tell you all what's been going on in my world. I'm just going to jump right into it. And it's all good news. I have finally moved. I moved, and that's why I haven't been on here. Um, I now live in a condo, a luxury condo. It is absolutely exquisite and beautiful, and I love it. The prior owners, they they left a lot of different things here that I could use. They left an electrical trash can that opens up every time. It's like has a sensor on it. They left cleaning supplies, toilet paper. I mean, they left a whole lot of stuff when they vacated and moved out. And let's just say I'm surrounded by family because I have family that lives that have their that they also have their own condo in here too. And my partner, he's with me. So, this has been such a beautiful experience because I am now in a peaceful place and I'm not bragging. I'm not bragging by far. We're going to talk about that. I am grateful and gracious to the people who have sent me positive energy, who really value what I have to say. It's not that I need validation, but I appreciate the people who value the things that I have to say. I'm just a small nugget here on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Um, but back to my condo, I mean, it has everything. I mean, it has a dishwasher, it has an ice maker in the refrigerator. I mean, these are things that I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't used to these types of luxuries. This is all new to me, and I can admit that, you know? I can admit that because I did not come from an easy life like that. I mean, I didn't come from poverty, but this is luxury to me. I have my own private balcony that's facing the woods where I can see deers, I can see chipmunks. It is so therapeutic and it is just so peaceful and spiritual for me. I tried to make a video on my balcony the other day, but I couldn't do it because I'm off of a highway. So the noise from the highway kept interfering with the video, and I felt like I had to keep talking over the noise that was, circulating on the highway. So I said, no, I can't do a video out here. Maybe I can go outside at night and do one, maybe, but probably not. But I am just, I'm ecstatic. And, this happened. That's how the universe does, though. Things will creep up on you. See, the universe will creep up on you. But I've also been doing a lot of spiritual work to manifest, and I'm going to say it that way, to manifest what I have now, and how can I put this? You have to have strength in the spirit. You have to have, I don't want to sound religious, but you have to have confidence and faith in your work. And even when people were trying to down me and tell me it couldn't, it wouldn't, never could, I still kept on believing in myself and I kept on believing in my spirit and I kept on doing my work. And voila, now I'm living in a luxury condo. And again, this is not coming from a place of bragging, it's coming from a place of gratitude. You know what I'm saying? And I am a spiritual testament that when you do your work, your spiritual work correctly, and when you apply the right energetic frequencies to your spell work, whatever that may be, you really can create a, what is that saying that the Christians say? You can take a mustard seed or something like that and create a whole, whatever. You know what I'm saying? All you need is, I hate using that word, but all you need is the confidence. I'm going to say the confidence of a mustard seed to manifest and create what you want, the reality that you want for yourself. And I kept focusing and meditating and doing what I needed to do to create this for myself. The bedroom that I have, I visualized that, and that's exactly the type of bedroom that I have, with windows to the left of me and one to the right of me. I have two windows to the left of me in my bedroom and one to the right of me. You know what I'm saying? And I did not allow any negative connotations to destroy or to interfere with my work and what I wanted to manifest. And I'm just grateful that it finally happened. That apartment building that I lived in was so toxic. The management was toxic. The people there were toxic. Some of them were old. They were miserable. They were unhappy. They were the worst group of people that I ever had the pleasure of being around. And I hope to never see any of those people again, for the most part. Not all of them, of course, but most of them, the ones they were just awful people. The management there, they were slumlords. I mean, I had an issue with rodents, not because of my housekeeping, but because the building had an overall issue with rodents, and the slumlord, they wouldn't do anything about it. I had a pantry that I couldn't even keep my sugar or my flour in because mice were getting into the pantry, eating my sugar and eating my flour. I had to take all of my stuff and put it in the cabinets. And excuse me, even then it wasn't safe. And this was due to the slumlord not taking care of the building the way that they should have taken care of it. It was a pretty large high-rise building. I will never, ever, ever, if I can control it, which I can, I will never live in a high-rise building again. Where I live at now, there is only 3 floors and it's only 12 people in this building. I don't ever want to live around a whole bunch of people anymore like that. I know that everywhere you go, there are going to be people who are problematic. There are going to be people who have issues. I know that. I get that. But I'm just so gracious that I'm out of that nightmarish building and I'm away from those nightmarish people, you know? Because when I first moved into that building 20 years ago, I thought I had found me a piece of heaven, you know? But I just wanted to let you all know that I moved and that I love where I live at. Like I said, it is so peaceful. I don't have to worry about smelling people's weed coming through the floors. I don't have to worry about hearing people up and down the hallway hollering and screaming all. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I did not know that I could feel this peaceful, in a totally different location. And it is all in who you know. And luckily, I know people. See, I know people who were able to help me. You know what I'm saying? So the universe is always going to put people where they need to be in your life. And sometimes the people that help you are the ones that you may have had the most challenges with at times. And I'm talking about reasonable challenges, of course, or whatever. But it is what it is. But I'm in a very good place. I'm in a very, very good place right now. And one of the major contributing factors to of that is because I moved. Because I moved and I'm in a much better space. The people around me, they mind their business. There's nobody loitering all around and a whole bunch of niggas, all up in your face. I can come in the building in peace. If I order me some Chinese food, or if I order me some groceries, I can go downstairs and get my groceries in peace. The only thing is, it's not really a big deal for me, but it's a big deal for, you know, my relative who lives in here as well. Um, because she's in a wheelchair. Her and her husband are both in wheelchairs. And the elevators are not working in the condo right now. They broke down right before I moved in. So when I moved in, I had to move everything up. Me and my partner, we had to move everything up the steps. And that was a challenge and a journey, but we made it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm in pretty good shape. So, I can go up and down the steps with no problem. I can go up and down the steps with groceries. I grocery cart, put my groceries in the cart, and just pull it up the steps one at a time. See, I can do that because I'm in good shape. I don't have no heart problems or nothing like that. As a matter of fact, I went to the doctor not long ago, and he was going over my blood work. He looked at my blood work and said, "You know what? You really should donate blood." I said, "Why?" He said, "You should donate blood. You have enough blood supply to donate." I said, I better keep an eye on that because I don't know. He was going over my blood work and said that I should donate blood. I know why too because I have great genetics. But anyway, I'm in a good place, y'all. I am. I'm really liking this. And like I said, I give myself, and I not wait a minute, let me take, I give spirit, divine spirit, credit for helping me to get to where I wanted to be, you know? So, but let's have a little chat. I just wanted to update you all about me. I'm in a much better place now. Um, so we've been watching this shit show going on with Donald Trump and Elon Musk and how Elon Musk is being allowed to go into our governmental frequencies and, you know, look at our energies and our social security numbers and all of that shit from what I'm understanding. And if I'm getting it wrong, then I'm just getting it wrong, but that's how I interpret it. And let me tell you something. Do you all remember in 2019 when Trump was president the first time during his first term? He shut down the government because they wouldn't fund his wall. And disclaimer, let me say this before I even go any further. This is not about bashing Trump or hating Trump. It's not about that. I'm an occultist and I'm a spiritual person. So I'm looking at things from a totally different dimension. This isn't about me liking Trump or disliking Trump. It's not about that for me. I'm just looking at the current, the current and what's going on. I'm looking at the sequence of events and I'm interconnecting them. That's what an occultist does. So that's what I'm doing. This is not personal. I have no hatred towards President Trump. I'm just looking at the sequence of events and I'm connecting and interconnecting them. Okay? Do you all remember in 2019 when Trump shut down the government the first time, when he shut down the government, not the first time, but when he shut down the government, because Congress would not approve his wall on the border. Well, let's fast forward to 2025 and how he is getting rid of all of the federal, basically getting rid of all of the federal employees within different governmental agencies. What happened in 2019 was a test run to what's happening now. Let me say that again. What happened in 2019 was a test run to what's happening now. And a lot of people missed it. See, I'm gonna pull up my sleeves because I'm getting ready to say some things that may not be politically correct, but you know me, I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. I'm gonna say it. It's not personal, it's spiritual. I remember back, and yes, I'm talking about the early the 90s, not the early 90s per se, but I'm talking about the 90s and the early 2000s. I remember when multiple people, especially a lot of black people here in the DC area, I remember how they treated people because they worked in the government, the federal government or state government or whatever, but let's just stick with the federal government. I remember how nasty and how uppity and evil they were towards other black people who did not have those opportunities to work in those jobs and in those places. And, I was talking to a friend last night and I was telling her, she's an elder, and I was telling her that it's not about the people that you tear down, it's about the people that you help build up. And that is why whenever I speak or whenever I share anything about my life that has changed for the better, or like for me, I've been upgraded to another level. That's why I always try to be humble and I try to be um, cognizant that there are people out there who may be struggling. And I don't want to come off as being cocky because I didn't have to get this condo. I almost did not get it. This was nothing but divine intervention. And because I have such a direct connection with spirit and the divine spirit, that is what always grounds me and backs me up. But I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, when I was looking for work, how there were people around me that could have helped me, that could have put in a good word, because it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And a lot of people that got those government jobs, they got it on the recognizance of knowing someone else who got them in. My uncle's ex-wife, she's deceased now, and I loved her to death. I loved her. She used to work for the U.S. Department of Energy, and I was a young man back then. And I used to always ask her, B, I'm gonna call her B. I say, B, can you put in a, she used to work for the Office of General Counsel, and they really respected her. And I used to ask her, do you think you could put in a good word for me? Maybe I can get a job. I mean, I just wanted to be a clerk. I wanted to get my foot in the government because I did work for the U.S. Department of Defense, but because I really didn't know anyone that could get me in, it's not about taking that civil service test. It's about who you know. And I didn't know anyone well enough for them to get me in and to make that position permanent. When I worked for the Department of Defense as an administrative clerk, when I was about around 19 or 20, 25 years ago. But I used to ask my aunt, she was my aunt by marriage because she was married to my uncle, but they divorced, but me and her remained close. And I used to ask her all the time, B, can you put in a good word and, maybe you can get me a job at the Department of Energy or help me get one. Nah, I don't want nobody working down here with me that I know. I don't do that. I said, okay. I said, okay, no problem. I didn't get mad about it or become bitter. Me and her still remained, cool and everything. But as the years went on, I began to see how the spirit started to move. See, in 2019, let's go back to 2019 when Trump shut down the government. See, that was a warning for a lot of black people then, but they didn't take heed to it. See, when Trump shut down the government in 2019, and I saw a lot of people that work for the federal government when I was, out and about, going to the store and stuff like that, during that time, I had come into some money because I had a small lawsuit that I had won, and I had money. But you know what's so interesting? When I was out and about, you saw all of these people, probably more than likely government workers, and I'm not making fun of it, I'm just pointing it out. Government workers who were standing in church lines trying to get food baskets. Whereas me, I went right to the grocery store. And the grocery what's interesting is the grocery store was empty. There was nobody in the grocery store at that time. And I think I've told this story before. There was no one in the grocery stores because they were all standing out in food lines trying to get food from the church. And it just took me, but now that was in 2019. That was right before COVID hit. But it just reminds me of how nasty, particularly how nasty black people were here in the DC area. I'm not talking about anywhere else, but here in the DC area, in my experience, this is my experience. Your experience is your spirit. That is your experiences are your spiritual experiences. And this was my spiritual experience dealing with my people or my so-called people in the DMV. They were nasty, they were judgmental, they would not help you, and they would set you up where they would make things harder for you instead of giving you the more easier approach to they would give you misinformation, basically is what I'm saying. And a lot of this so now here we are in 2025 and it's happening all over again. Trump is firing, well, not firing, but he's um cutting back on a lot of the government workforce. And see, they had a warning in 2019 and they didn't pay attention to it. And this is not to be cruel or nasty, but you have to understand that Spirit gave you a sign. But see, people depend solely on carnality, they depend on man alone. And even in your Bibles, it says that you cannot depend on, I may be saying that wrong, I don't know. But I'm going to say this: you cannot depend on man alone. You have to depend on the Spirit, on the divine Spirit, whatever that may mean for you. So when you sit up and make fun of people who are on government assistance and all those types of things, like I see so many people doing, a lot of black people doing that online, they are rejoicing in seeing a lot of the hardships that are coming down for certain people, right? But some of these people were probably the same people that I saw in 2019 standing in long lines outside churches begging for food boxes because you too depend on the government for your money. And now Trump is back in office and he's snatching that all away from them. He is firing, and I'm not saying that this is just at all. I'm not saying that this is just. But what I'm saying is that I remember a time when black people had opportunities to help other black people, and they chose not to do that. Instead, they chose to be disrespectful when you called a lot of these government agencies. They chose to be disgruntled. They chose to give you misinformation. They chose to dodge and ignore your calls. They chose to be rude. They chose to speak down on you or down to you. They chose to treat you as if you were beneath them. And now look what's happening. See, the pendulum of fate is always swinging. See, that's the thing down here on earth. But we as occultists, we're supposed to be able to manipulate that pendulum. Or even if it does swing out of favor with us, we should know how to deal with those circumstances. See, I know how to deal with those circumstances because I have enough experience spiritually to deal with them. Because I've been dealing with them since I was 8 years old. And that's what makes me a spiritual master of myself for the most part. I'm still a learner. I've been dealing with trauma and and challenges since I was 8 years old when my grandmother died, who I loved and adored. Then my uncle was unalived. Then I started having my own, mental issues as a teenager that, caused me to do things that I normally wouldn't do. It caused me to hurt people that I should not have hurt. So I too have my dark side. So I too have my own challenges. But the difference between me and the people that I'm talking about, and let me say this as a disclaimer, I'm not talking about the people that are currently going through this catastrophe of losing their jobs. I'm going back to the past because the past connects the future. And a lot of these people that are going through this now, of the inner, it's because the spirit is not happy and the spirit don't care. The spirit is not happy. If your ancestors did something that was wrong, or if you misused and abused opportunities that the spirit may have given you or may have put you in place to do certain things, then that's a problem. Black people started getting into the government post civil rights movement, and then what they did was they only cared about themselves. It was all about me, and fuck everybody else. It's not about who you can tear down, it's about who you can build up. So now this is where we're at. People are losing their jobs. People are panicking. One of my relatives was telling me today that one of my cousins, they let her go from US, what is it, US AD International. They let her go. They let her go, then they called her back, then they let her go again. When you do things that are not in alignment with the spirit, people can take it away from you. And maybe as black people, maybe we really need to start doing some real soul searching. And I'm not talking about no fucking religion. I'm talking about some real dark soul searching. Because we got caught up in making all that money in the government. We got caught up in positions, titles, which none of them are anything that you own. You don't own those titles. You don't own those positions. You are borrowing them. They are borrowed positions. They are borrowed titles. Because what they're going to do is they're going to get rid of you and they're going to replace you with either an Indian person or, and no disrespect to Indians, but a white person, no disrespect to white people, or an Arab person, and no disrespect to Arab people. But that's what you're going to be replaced with. Because isn't that what Elon Musk is doing? Because we all know that most of the people that work in the government here in the DMV are black people, men and women. And if you work in the state government, if you think that this is not going to affect you or that it's not going to have a trickle down, what do they call it? Yeah, trickle down effect or a domino effect, that's a better word. Think again. While y'all are playing checkers, they've been playing chess. They've been planning this shit since 2019. They knew that Trump was not going to win the election in 2020. They knew he was going to win re-election in 2024. They knew it because it's all pre-planned. What they did in 2019 when he shut down the government, that was a test run for exactly what's happening now. For them to bring in this new frequency and vibration to get rid of the old and bring in this new backwards frequency. But we have to go back to our past and we have to understand ancestral debts. Ancestral debts, how your ancestors treated other people, may have an effect on what happens to you. Remember what I told you. During that time in 2019, I was able to go to the store and buy groceries. Money had just landed in my lap out of nowhere. I had a lawsuit out of nowhere. Well, no, actually, it wasn't out of nowhere, but it came right on time. It came right on time. I was able to go to the store. The store was empty. So that should let you know who spirit really backs up. And spirit ain't backing y'all up. Because some of y'all have ancestral debts. I mean, we all do to a certain degree. When your ancestors have done things that were detrimental to other people, when they were put in positions to help other black people, and this is mainly for a lot of these boomers, they were put in positions to help other black people, but they chose to be selfish, they chose to be nasty, and they chose to be self-serving. And that is when you start veering off into the realm of what we call antichrist. And I don't mean that in the religious term. I mean in the terminology or in the term of lacking spirit. They stopped allowing spirit to guide them and they started being guided by their own carnal, um, how can I put it, their own carnal desires, their own greed. Well, I ain't gonna help nobody because ain't nobody help me. So what? Didn't nobody really fucking help me either, but I still help people. I still help people. I didn't really have no good mentors when I was coming up, but I would like to think that I'm a good mentor to some of the younger men that I talk to. Like I have a play little brother, I talk to him all the time. We talk every day. I give him advice. I tell him what I think, and I'm always available if he needs me. You know what I mean? If he needs to talk, and I don't try to control him, I don't try to speak down on him, and I don't try to take advantage of my position as being an elder. And see, that's what a lot of them did. They took advantage of those positions being elders. And instead of them building up the younger generation, they tried to tear us down. And now, unfortunately, their descendants are paying for their spiritual crimes against humanity. They got in those government positions and they didn't want to help nobody. Like I said, I worked for the Department of Defense and I did an excellent job when I worked for the Department of Defense. But they simply would not create a permanent position for me because why would they? I didn't know them like that. I did a good job. But, if people don't really know you, it's who you know. You have to know people, and I didn't know them that well, nor were they in a position to create a permanent position for me. You have to have somebody that you know that really goes to bat for you. Most people ain't gonna go to bat for you like that. You know what I'm saying? So now we have this ancestral debt because your ancestors, they mistreated so many people. When spirit put them in that positions or in those positions, spirit told them, hey, listen, I'm putting you in place. You marched, I gave you the incentive to march, I backed you up, and I backed you up so you can move these hurdles of racism and oppression out of your way. But instead of them using that as an incentive and being inspired and having passion to lift people up, they used their positions in the government, black people, to tear other black people down. Well, I make $100,000 a year and you ain't got shit because you live over there and I live in this big old house over here. And guess what? Now I'm living in a luxury condo. And now a lot of them have to worry about where they're going to get their next meal. Because isn't Trump only going to pay them for 8 months? That's why you have to be kind to people. You have to be kind to people. I'm learning that more and more. And you have to stop creating regrets. You have to be kind to people because you never know where life is going to take you. And I'm no saint. I've mistreated people. I've not always been a good person. And it's not about being a good person per se, because good people do bad things and bad people do good things. It's about being balanced. And we've been dealing with a lot of unbalanced, unhinged people for a very long time. You all were supposed to help people and lift people up, and not the people that you thought were special because you wanted something out of it. Spirit puts certain people in our path for a reason. Now, let me tell y'all something. I told y'all that I live in a condo now. I have a two-bedroom condo. Me and my partner, we share a room. My brother lives here with me too, and I wasn't going to say anything about that. My brother lives with me too. This is my place. This is my condo. This is mine. But my brother, he ended up having an issue with his apartment. The job that he was working, the job that he works for, they sold the apartment that he lived in came with the job, and his job sold the building, and he had nowhere else to go. So me getting this two-bedroom condo, I was thinking, okay, me and my partner, we're gonna be in here by ourselves. We're gonna. Spirit said, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Slow your brakes. Then my brother called me and said, well, bro, is it all right if I stay with you for a little while, maybe 6 months to a year? He works until I save up some money to maybe get a house or something. And there was some challenges with that. But Spirit spoke to my heart and said, Seer, when has there ever been a time where there weren't any challenges with family? I'm talking about within reason now. I'm not talking about nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying? He's the only brother that I have. He's never really done anything to me badly. We've had disagreements. I've had to cuss him out. I had to cuss him out before we even moved in here. But what I'm saying is this, and I'm only speaking for me. I'm not speaking for anybody else. Sometimes spirit may give you something, but spirit may test you to see how well and how generous you may be with other people. Did I want my brother living with me? Not really. He's not here, so I can say not really. But sometimes it's not about what you want, it's about what the spirit wants. I have a two-bedroom condo. Why wouldn't I let my brother come and stay with me? Why wouldn't I? Especially when we've never had any major problems. You see what I'm saying? That's the type of stuff I'm talking about. You got black people who live in seven-bedroom homes and they won't even let one of their relatives come stay with them. And I get it. Let me say this. I get it. Living with family is not easy. You know what I'm saying? And I know people don't like taking people in because of the issues and stuff. I get that. I get that. But I'm correlating this with how people who are now losing their jobs in the government, how their ancestors had an opportunity and they had a duty to help lift people up. And they didn't do that. Instead, they tried to tear down our generation, which is Generation X. They tried to tear us down. They tried to preach all that Martin Luther King bullshit to us that worked for them. But that's not going to work for us. I kind of if I did align myself with anything, it would probably be more along the lines of the stuff that Malcolm X said. And this is not about hating one race over another because I think that all races are inherently or have the capability of being inherently evil. Some more than others. But we have a case of we're dealing with ancestral debt. And all of the people that your ancestors tried to tear down, myself being included, me being one of them, all of the people that they tried to tear down, we're the ones that are now being lifted up. In 2019, they didn't get it, and you still didn't get it you're not getting it in 2025. When are you going to get it? Spirit puts you in position and place, and y'all fucked it up because you allowed your egos, you allowed your greed, and you allowed your hatred to lead you. You weren't led with love. You weren't led with strength and compassion. You were allowing deceit, deception, haughtiness, egotistical. That's what you allowed yourself to be led by. And now Trump has blindsided you all. And don't get me wrong, I know we're all going to be affected on some level, but some of us are going to be affected more than others. Because when you have spirit backing you up like I do, when you have the spirit backing you up, who can be against you? And I'm not bragging or anything like that. I'm just pointing out. Spirit backs me up. That is why I always end up on top, in the middle, and at the bottom. Because we're supposed to be at all, because what you can't see at the top, you can see in the middle. What you can't see in the middle, you can see at the bottom. And I know that don't make sense, but that's what I do. I'm the occult view. What you can't see at the bottom, what you can't see all the way at the top, the middle will take care of. What you can't see in the middle, the bottom will take care of. We're supposed to be present in all places. But everybody wants to be at the top, and everybody can't be at the top. Somebody has to be at the middle, and somebody got to be at the bottom. And being at the bottom is not a disadvantage like people want people like people believe. I'm not talking about being in status. I'm talking about being in the know. Because what's going on at the bottom, the middle may not know. What's going on in the middle, the bottom may not know. What's going on at the top, the middle may not know. And so on and so on. Everybody can't be at the top. So because black people have this insatiable, disgusting ambition to be above everyone, especially other black people, now you've created a vibration. You've created a sub vibration that is basically turned against you. You thought you were doing something by trying to tear people like me down, but in the end, you ended up fucking over your descendants. Boomers. You didn't want me working in the government, right? I'm glad. And you know what? Thank you. Because what I had to do was I had to go and create my own way to make money. And no matter what that is, no matter how much I make, I eat every day, my bills are paid, and in my mind, I'm abundant and prosperous in my mind. And nobody can take that away from me. And obviously, the spirit and the universe is aligning with that because look at where I'm living. I'm living in a luxury condo. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I wasn't going to say this, but the condo that I live in, my family is renting to me. My aunt owns this, her and her husband. And that's what makes it even better. And I've rented from my aunt before because I have wealth in my family. This is generational wealth. So the spirit took me from this over here to this right here. You got to be kind to people. You have to remember, you know, you have to remember that everybody, well, I want to, well, in this world today, I guess you never know, but because so many of these people, I'm not talking about a particular race, I'm talking about everyone in totality. A lot of people, I just don't think that they're human. Some of these people don't even act human. Veering off into another topic for a moment, some of these people don't act human. And maybe that's what we're dealing with, and we're not coming to terms with that. They look human, they sound human, but their actions are that of something that is not of this world. All of those movies, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and all of those things. What if they're true? What if that was their way of preparing us for what we're dealing with now? I notice when I talk to guys, just in general, Not really looking for anything, but even if I do go on an app or something to talk to a guy, you know, and my friend knows about it, it ain't no big deal. But even if I do that, it's like when I talk to them, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything coming from a lot of these people. Where did their spirit go? Where did their soul go? I don't feel anything for them because there's nothing there. There's no passion there anymore. I mean, truthfully, I'm even losing my interest in having sex with people like that if I was looking because they just don't turn me on. It's not that I want to be celibate, but a lot of these men don't turn me on. Especially a lot of black men, they don't turn me on anymore. And I'm being honest, and it's not because I want to be attracted to something else. It's just that something is amiss. Something is not right. And it connects to everything that I'm talking about. 2019, that was the that was when I started really noticing that things were not right with people. So what's really going on in the world? Oh, that's right. You all sold your souls for government jobs, for benefits, right? And now you want your soul back because you want to create something else, because your soul, spirit, whatever, gives you creative power. And now you can't get it back because you sold it. You sold it to the US government. And they used you to tear down and to block other black people from getting employment. I still have my soul. I still have my creative power. And that is why I was able to go outside of your matrix and create something for myself. What a world, what a world. Anyway, this is the occult view. And I just wanted to come through and just expound upon everything that's been going on in the world. Y'all know Irv Gotti died. Mm. And 50 Cent's online cutting up about it. Interesting. But anyway, I can't think of anything else to talk about. I just wanted to update everyone on what's been going on with me. I'm really, all in all, I'm really in a good place now. I am peaceful. I'm in a very peaceful place, and I'm not gonna let anybody destroy that. Anybody. But I want to thank all of the motherfuckers who tried to block me from getting government jobs, who tried to block me from bettering myself, who tried to block me by not helping me to rise up, which is what elders are supposed to do for younger people. Lift younger people up, but so many of you don't do that. That's why a lot of younger people like me, because I know how to talk to them, because I'm on the cusp, despite what some people talking about that just makes me old. Yeah. And he know who I'm talking about too if he looks at this video. Yeah. Yeah. Nigga. Anyway, me and him have a joking back and forth, this person anyway. But I'm on the cusp of being a millennial and Gen X. So I understand both sides. I understand the importance of tradition and customs and cultures within the Black American community, but I also understand innovative new ideas and maybe trying to integrate them so we can all understand and we can all eat good. But you have these boomers and these older people who only wanted certain things for themselves. And they taught that, just like y'all talk about the slave masters taught their children to hate black people. They taught their children's children to hate black people. And in every generation, they taught them to hate black people. Well, black people taught each generation of theirs to shut down or shut out other black people. Don't help lift them up. Only help lift up the people that you can get something out of. When I do something for someone, I don't want anything in return. If I give somebody $20 and they win the lottery for $20 billion, I don't expect them to give me a motherfucking thing because I didn't give them that for that. If they want to give me something, that's on them. But if I do something for somebody, they're not obligated to do something back for me. I'm just not that type of person. And that is why, and that's what makes me grounded in spirit. You taught your generation not to help people. They taught their generation not to help people. And now you're at a precipice because we're up under the vibration of the number nine, which is about endings and death and rebirth and resurrection and final death. There is a major cosmic shift taking place right now. And if you're finding yourself being lifted up and being upgraded into better circumstances of your liking, that means that you did something right. That means you're doing something right. See, now the pendulum is going in another direction. And those that were on top, that pendulum is getting ready to shift you to the middle. Those that were in the middle, you're getting ready to shift to the bottom. Those that were at the bottom, you're getting ready to shift in the middle. You see what I'm saying? You all just weren't spiritually ready for this. And now you're looking at man to help you. Man cannot help you. Man cannot help you. The only person that can help y'all get out of this mess is going to have to be the black woman. Man can't help you because the black woman is spirit. The black woman is divine spirit. But they have you thinking that it's a man. Just like they have y'all thinking that the Holy Ghost is a man. Okay. Okay. Anyway, anyway, this is the occult view. I just wanted to say that, get that off my chest. You can like it, you can love it. Quite frankly, I don't give a fuck because it's not about your feelings. It's about you realizing what's going on and the ancestral debt that these people have to pay. They have an ancestral debt that they have to pay. Your ancestors tore people down and fucked over a lot of people and prevented and blocked a lot of people when they were supposed to be helping and uplifting people, but they got entangled and caught up. And now this new generation is paying for it because you were never grounded by the spirit, or the spirit backed off and left because your ancestors didn't do what spirit guided them to do, which was to lift people up. And they didn't do that. Anyway, That's all I have to say on that. Um, I'll be back when I have something else to say. Thank you.